What is 1 HP of damage in real life? Static shock. Trying to open a beer you thought was a twist top. When you eat a chip, and it hits the roof of your mouth sharp corner up. Working on the engine of a car and bumping your head on the hood as you get up. Dropping your phone on your face. Saying bye to someone and walking the same way. What are y'all starting to dislike the more and more older you get? Trying to be cool and get attention. Especially with people whom I am not close to. Now I just wish to be peaceful. Always being tired and getting up in the morning. I really took the amount of sleep I got when I was younger for granted. Loud noise. Social media. It's just gotten worse and worse since I was in high school. Hangovers. Everything needing an app. Why can't I just use this perfectly fine browser? What would you name a newborn child if you really wanted to ruin their life, but wanted to maintain plausible deniability about having done it on purpose? My granny is called Eileen. Little did my great-grandparents know that she would contract childhood polio that left her with one leg longer than the other. I feel terrible for this. My granny is a saint. But come on. I had read a story about how a woman unintentionally named her daughter after a concentration camp. She said she just liked the name and had no idea. The craziest part was that she got pretty far before anyone told her. The last name, Dyke, is very common in the area I live in. When I moved here in grade 8, there was an announcement over the school's PA for a Harry Dyke to report to the office. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So probably Harry Dyke LMAO. Tony spelled Pitufne. Name it, porn. In Thai language. It is a common name that shows up often. It means getting a good blessing. X. If a powerful mythical creature grants you, porn, to be healthy and can recover fast, it means you have received a good porn. There's a guy here in DC shown on the news all the time. He's like the spokesperson for the US Park Service, so he's on whenever there's an event on or around the mall. Anyway, his name is Mike Litterist. They don't pronounce the T at the end like they absolutely should. More often than not. It always amuses me. Not the name you really wanted as a kid. Then you're dealing with the press for a living? Lol. Edit. His name is actually Mike Litterst, they just say Litterus. What sounded like a compliment when you were young, but you later understood it wasn't. You are smarter than you look. You look, sound, act just like your mom, dad. This could be an innocent comment but also could be a veiled insult. When I was little I played soccer. I had asthma and I was easily the slowest on my team, but I thought I was at least keeping up. My coach called me Speedy, and I thought it was genuine until I got older and my mom told me he was being sarcastic. You're such a perfectionist. You look 18. When I was 12. As an adult, I realized how creepy that was. I'll say a prayer to St. Jude for you. A common Irish saying around exam times. St. Jude is of course the patron saint of hopeless cases. For those that don't want any kids in the future, why? Personally not interested in the stress, responsibility and dedication it takes to look after babies, toddlers and kids. If I ever do have kids I'll look after them, but right now and probably for a long time. I don't see myself wanting to be around kids when coming home after a long day then deal with a screaming baby. OFC not all the time. Which needs attention the entire time I'm home. 1. I spent pretty much my entire childhood helping to raise my 7 younger siblings. I'm, frankly, all mothered out. 2. I don't think I'd be a good mother. And in order to find out if I am wrong, I have to open Pandora's box. If I open the box and am wrong, a child suffers for my choice. 3. I really don't want to have children. Nor do I feel that the current world I live in and the future one is one I want to bring children into. I don't want to worry about a kid for the rest of my life. I could never truly relax again. I just don't feel like being a parent and watching over a child. I don't have a reason to have kids. Because I like peace, quiet, cleanliness, free time, and last but not least, money. Just not something I have ever wanted. Believe it or not, there are just some people out there who don't have a parental instinct. People who slept past noon on 9/11. What was waking up like? I was in Las Vegas for a trade show. Parties with coworkers until about 3 a.m. Pacific time and rolled into bed maybe an hour before the first plane struck. I woke up about 7:30 a.m. expecting to do a hungover shift at the show. Turned on the morning news. And spent about 15 minutes rubbing my eyes and trying to absorb the images of smoke-filled lower Manhattan. Went to the lobby to meet my coworkers in order to process it all and saw the strangest thing. About 50% of the people were standing around stunned by the news. The other 50% had been in the insular, clock-free, newsless bubble of the casino all night and were still partying hard. Oddest moment of my life. Did anyone see the documentary Voices from the Towers? There was one guy who worked night shift, and his brother kept ringing him. So he either turned his phone off or on silent and went back to sleep. When he woke up he checked his messages to see what was so important that his brother wouldn't stop disturbing him when he knew he was on night shift and slept during the day. It was a message saying that the stairwell below brother's office was blown out and it didn't look like brother was going to be able to get out of the WTC. So goodbye and I love you. I have the perspective of being a kid in East Africa at the time. I had just gotten out of school at about 3 p.m.-ish with no prior knowledge of what was happening. My entire family was glued to their TV and I think the second plane had hit at this point. I remember my uncle explaining to me that people had intentionally flown a plane into the towers. I was 8 years old and naive and I remember my first immediate thought was, how did the perpetrators pull this off without killing themselves? I had no concept of a suicide attack. No other memories from that day, but my uncle told me I essentially lost interest and went to play video games. It just didn't feel real to me. I worked the graveyard shift the night before. Woke up at noon. Miami. Jumped in the shower and went back to work. When I got to work, it was closed. I was furious no one had notified me that our afternoon meeting was cancelled. Keep in mind I still had no idea about what had happened in NYC that morning. Went back home to email my boss to complain about the cancelled meeting without notifying me. Got home. Opened my laptop to a popular news site and there was a picture of people running away from the towers. Looked like something you would see on a National Enquirer magazine cover. I then went over and turned on the TV just in time to see an instant replay of one of the planes hitting the towers. By that time it was 1:30 p.m. I sat in front of the TV the rest of the day in disbelief. Only semi-related story I know of is from an old roommate. He fell asleep with the TV on and woke up right as the second tower got hit. Took him several minutes to realize what was going on. My wife works nights, sleeps days. Woke up about 2 p.m. to phone messages from all the kids, adults, and from me. Multiple messages from me. I was at work. First thing she did upon awakening was call me. Before turning on the TV, I just told her, turn on the TV and then call me back. She was astounded to say the least. Then spent the rest of the afternoon calling the kids. Quick side note. Had a friend who was in the air heading from UK to USA. Mid-flight they got a message from the pilot simply saying no flights are being allowed in or out of the USA, so they were diverting to the Toronto. No reason why was given. She was thinking, did we have a nuclear accident, or even nuclear war? What on earth could cause all flights to be diverted? She had kids in Chicago and a husband waiting for her in the USA. This was so unprecedented the terrorism aspect never occurred to her. Very frightening times for all concerned. Eventually got a rental car, shared with strangers, and made it safely home nearly one day late. Subscribe, my brothers.